What is going on, everyone? It's Chris. I'm back here for Friendly Frenzy Games, and today let's tackle the explanation and solutions for all of the puzzles in the second Steampunk DLC Room for Escape Simulator. This one is called the Engine Room. If you like this video or you find at all that it helps you, give us a like and subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games for more walkthroughs just like this one. So I don't know about any of you, but I love the smell of sweet, sweet fire first thing in the morning. Much to my delight, I wake up in this Valor engine room and we are essentially singeing. This isn't going to hurt you at all. The fire isn't going to do anything. Realistically, it's not harmful. We have a half an hour to escape this room, so the smoke isn't going to do anything. It's merely just for show. What it does prevent you from doing, really, though, is doing any of the puzzles before you first put these flames out. So the starting point in this room is pretty clear. What we need to do is find a way to extinguish these flames, and there is conveniently a fire extinguisher just behind this emergency panel up at the front of the room beside this kind of vault door here. So we'll go ahead and click this, and this will lower, and we grab our fire extinguisher. Once you grab it, quickly inspect it, and what you're gonna want to do is just pull the left pin out the top there. That's going to allow us to use the trigger. What we need to do before using the trigger is we need to crank our steam pressure up, so just use the valve on the bottom here. Give that a spin and you'll see the needles now move from red to green, so we're able to use this. Lastly, we just need to hit our trigger here, and you can see we are ready to rip and roar these flames apart. So all you need to do is just make sure you have your fire extinguisher active. You can see that our cursor turns to like a fire extinguisher sign here. You just want to make sure that you don't end up actually like placing the fire extinguisher. It gets really kind of annoying and clunky sometimes. You'll end up throwing it across the room. So just make sure that before you start using it that you have the extinguisher icon kind of in the middle of your screen here, and you should be all good. So just continue walking around the room extinguishing these flames, and you'll see now that the emergency lights have turned off, so there's less of a red tinge in here and it is more kind of yellowy. And we don't have our emergency sequence in here now. So just to kind of have everything available to us that we can have, we'll go ahead and open this kind of secondary room. You can see in here we have our furnace area. Obviously a couple of different clues and puzzles in this room, much like this one here. Where we would probably want to start most likely, and really the main puzzle or the main idea for this room, is really just kind of repowering this drone here. So you can see we have our drone landing zone. There's a couple of different puzzles that's going to require this drone to get activated again. You can see we have drone damage detected. Our first kind of puzzle here is to add the fuel. So here's our station here. You can see first and foremost we need to insert our container. We have a compressed fuel dock, compressed fuel engine, and we have our fuel here. So there's a series of kind of tanks, containers, vats, basically, of our fuel. What we need to do is, once we insert our container, so we can actually just go grab that from the furnace room here, and you can see it's sitting on top of the scale. We'll grab our fuel tank, and as soon as we plop it in, we know kind of how much fuel we actually need. So if you trace the pipes, you can kind of get an idea of how this puzzle works. We know that we need to get our 4 liters of fuel from our 5-liter tank, and that's just because ultimately we can see that we're going to be draining the fuel out of the middle section here just with this pipe to fill our compressed tank. So how this puzzle basically works is you want to use the valves up at the top here. You can go from left to right to move the fuel from like either the tank on your left to the tank on your right, or move it from the tank on the right to the left, however you want to do it. What I've found, there might be a quicker way to do it, but I basically have a couple of moves here. So we can start with our first one. We'll just move, essentially you have to move all of the fuel at one time basically, so as much as the next kind of container here can hold. You can't do it piece by piece. So essentially if we kind of use our valve here to move fuel from our left tank to the right, or basically the 8 to the 5, it's going to fill up our 5 tank. So now with that one in place, we can use the valve up at the top here between 3 and 5 to move 3 liters to our 3 tank. And now we want to use the valve at the bottom of our 3-liter tank, and this is just going to shoot 3 liters back over to 8 liters. So we can go ahead and use our left switch here. So you can see now we have 6 liters of fuel in our 8-liter tank. we have 2 liters of fuel in our 5-liter tank, and we have nothing in our 3-liter. So what we want to do now is just shoot our 2 liters over into the 3-liter tank so we can use this valve up top here. Use our valve up at the top between 8 and 5 to shoot over another 5 liters. And we're going to just empty 1 liter because that's all that our 3-liter can carry on top of the 2 that's in there already. And obviously if we subtract 1 liter of fuel from our 5 that are in the middle, we're going to get our 4 target. So use this valve up at the top, shoot that over, and you can see our current and our target line up here. So last thing we need to do is just open this compressed fuel valve so we can hit this, and you can see that our container's filled. So we'll grab our fuel tank, go ahead and plop it into the drone, and we've now completed this puzzle here. So we have another closed power circuit kind of puzzle here, and basically what we would do with this is you want to click the red button on the drone to open its circuitry here, and you can see that we've got a couple of things going on here. We have obviously our power switch, there's a couple of different sockets here, and obviously we have voltage and current up in the top corner here. This is all correlating to this puzzle over in the corner here. So obviously we have resistor color table. You can see here that we have kind of a fatter, wider color band on our left and then a thinner one on our right, and these are all representing different resistances. If we look in this resistor box, and we'll collect all of these for now, but you can see we have 6 resistors available to us for this puzzle. We need to find which combination of 2 of them, essentially, because we have 2 sockets in this drone. We have to find what 2 resistors of the 6 to plug into this to give us our resistance here for the current. So now that we have our resistors, we can also pick up our everyday physics book and just kind of give this a quick read. So law of resistance, what we need to do firstly in this puzzle is find out, using those voltage and current numbers that are on the circuitry of the drone, we have to figure out what we need our resistance to add up to. So we know that using this book here, voltage over current, so we're going to do 120 divided by 4, which is going to give us 30. So our resistance is going to be 30. The other note down here is it's saying that the resistances need to be added together. So again, we know we have 2 resistors that we're plugging in here. We know now that we need a combination of the 2 of them to add up to 30. And using, again, our resistor color table, we know here that if our fatter band, for example, on this one here is black, its first number in resistance is going to be 0. If it was a dark blue like this one here, it's going to be a 1, and if it's red, it's going to be a 2. So adding this in conjunction, the highest that we could possibly have is a 28 resistance kind of resistor here. It would be red on the far left with a thin green band. We don't have any that are like that, so what we need to do is kind of figure out the right combination of 2 resistors that are going to add up to 30. And those 2 are essentially going to be the double red. So this one is going to equal 2 and 4. And then we also have a combination of our black and light blue. So it's going to be 0 and 6. Obviously 6 plus 24 is going to give us our 30 resistance. So we know what 2 now that we need to plug into here. So we can go ahead and plug in our black and blue and our double red. And we'll turn on our power switch here. And you can see that we now have closed the power circuit and the drone has power. We do need to get its missing propeller. I'm going to just chuck all this stuff since we don't need to use it now. How we get the missing propeller is actually just in this station here. So if we open this drawer under our resistor color table puzzle, you'll see here that we have a couple of different patterns, and what we need to do is use this machine to recreate those. So you can see obviously we have a series of kind of 3 different mechanisms here. If we open these 2 drawers on either side of the machine, if we give a close inspect, we see that we kind of have 2 basically spots that we can put the jewels from this from these drawers onto the machine. What we want to do is collect our red one first, and we'll place our red one on the left side, and it's just going to be on the outer rim. You can see we have an inside rim and an outside kind of position here. We want this one just to make as big as it can kind of create this pattern, and to do that we're just going to have it on the outside. So you can see that that has pretty accurately recreated our red version here. or our red kind of jewel. We can go ahead and do the same with the blue, and we know that we're trying to get it to make almost like a cloud swoosh looking thing, and it is just going to be on the inside position of this cogwheel here. So we can go ahead and activate that switch and just check that that lines up. And it does not. You can see here we don't have any overlap in the middle here like our picture is showing. So what we need to do is just give this a quick pause and just adjust our jewel here. So it needs to be on the outside, not the inside. We can just confirm really quickly with this just to make sure, and you can see that we get that little bit of overlap here just like the picture has. And now lastly, we have our white one here, or the yellow crystal it says. So we need to pick that up, and we can put this one on the inside of this middle cog, and it is going to give us a kind of flower looking symbol. You can see that this is all recreated. As soon as we get that puzzle together, this middle kind of turbine is basically going to give us our new propeller here. So we can turn around and stick that on the top of the drone. And you can see now that the drone is ready to go, but there's a few repairs that we need to make this operational. What you need to do with this puzzle, the repair everything puzzle, is essentially what we're trying to do is tackle all of these red circles without using all of our fuel, or without overusing fuel anyways. So basically, you need to use this kind of middle analog dial as your direction. This button here on the left is just going to reset everything, and our play button is actually going to put your movement in motion. So what we want to do first of all is go to the east here and hit our play button. So you'll see here that that used 4 fuel on our left side. We need to basically make all of these repairs in the least amount of moves possible. So obviously between 2 and a 5, if we're trying to get up to our red kind of dot here, we don't want to take the 5 route. Ultimately, this is going to be 5, 3, and another 5, so 13 to get to this, or we could take a 2, it's only going to cost us 4. So let's make a quick adjustment here. We'll go to the north, hit our play button, and we are good. And so we've used another 2 fuel. We can use another 2 fuel to tackle this repair. So we'll go to the east and hit our play button, and we've hit that. Now we have to go all the way down to this bottom corner, but we need to, again, make sure that it is our shortest path here. So we'll go down to our kind of western direction now and hit play. Between 2 and 3, 2 is cheaper, so we can keep going west and hit our play button. And again, between 1 and 2, we have 3 bars of fuel left, so if we go down south here, we will hit it bang on, versus if we were to go kind of continue west, we would hit 3 and not be able to make it down to this center dot because we would need 1 more fuel in the corner and we would not have it. So we'll go down to the south and expend 1 fuel bar, and now we go to our west, and we can see that if we use our last 2 fuel, that we complete all of our repairs. So you can see now, just going to chuck this out of the way, you can see now that the drone, once it's operational, goes and removes a panel. And we don't actually have the piece that we need in here yet, but we can in just a second. So let's start this puzzle now. And this is really to power the furnace. So the next puzzle is powering the furnace, and there is a kind of note just for us on this 3-number combination here. So it's saying heavy is the work of an engineer, obviously with heavy outlined or underlined. First you cut it, then you squeeze it, and then you smash it. Cut, squeeze, and smash, all outlined. So we know heavy is something to do with weight. Obviously we have a scale in this room here. We're going to want to use the scale and tools is all going to kind of match up with this verbiage here. So we have cut, we have a saw. This is going to be the first number in our combination here, whatever the weight of this is. So we have a 4 for the weight of the saw, or our cutting tool. So 4 will be the first number in this combination, and we can throw that out. Now we need a squeeze. And if we go back to this resistor kind of desk here, you'll see that we have a wrench, which essentially squeezes whatever material it's working with, and it's going to give us 2 for our second number here. So we can plug 2 into the combination, and we will throw this out. And our last kind of tool that we're looking for is smash. And we had previously opened this just up under our propeller kind of desk here. In this center drawer, if you open it, there's a hammer that smashes things. We can go ahead and throw this on the scale, and we get 6 pounds here. So the last number in this combination is a 6. You You can see that this furnace is all open and ready to go now. We also know that right here, the furnace ignition, it says after we've unlocked the furnace, we need to load 5 shovels of coal to give us the steam power for this pipe puzzle here. So we have a shovel with some coal in the corner of the room. Grab your shovel and just kind of dip into this container here. And we're literally just going to do this 5 times. So that's 1, 2. You got to make sure that you have everything kind of positioned perfectly, or again, the controls do kind of get a little finicky sometimes. You'll end up dropping your shovel. That's 3, 4, and 5. You'll see that the doors close, the fire lights up, and now all of our pipes are green. You can see that we're getting some steam and stuff through these pipes here, and that's ultimately going to help us with our next puzzle. So for this one here, pretty cool puzzle. There's a little guide on how you would actually go about solving this, just taped up on the door here. Obviously you can see this is the top of our steam pipe, and what it's telling us to do is follow the pipes, basically using this stud finder looking thing, and we want to light up where the ends of each of the pipes are. So you can see we have 4 pipes along the top. We're going to need to highlight 4 kind of pipe entry or exit points. Obviously we have 10 different buttons, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. So we need to figure out where these 4 pipes are actually coming out to be able to solve this puzzle. So we have a rope on our left that's going to control the left and right. And we have a pipe, or we have a rope on our right side that controls up and down. So let's first pull this into our first spot and we'll solve for the first pipe here. So we can see, obviously, this is lined up pretty closely, and we'll just trace it here. I like to kind of keep it towards the top of the screen. It makes it a little easier to kind of follow where everything is. So you can see we're still just following our top pipe. It kind of elbows off here. So we'll just follow. Now it's on the right of our screen, and I'm just going to keep it to the top of my screen here. And we'll follow this along to the left. You can see that it kind of dips down again. We're looking at this pipe in the middle here. And you can see that it looks like it's going to come down to this kind of button here. But let's just confirm. Yeah. So it's just going to be our 4th button on the left side is for our first pipe. We'll drag this back up to the top and figure out where our second pipe is. So you can see here, we've got our second pipe. We'll keep it on the right side of our screen right now. It's relatively easy to follow as it is. Go straight down for a fairly long time, and again, just keeping it towards the top of my screen, you can see that it kind of elbows off here. So we'll follow that along to our right side, and this one's pretty simple. It just lines up with our second button on the right. Again, we'll pull this stud finder back up top, and we'll solve for our pipes 3 and 4. So we have pipe 3 here. We can see on the left of our screen, and following it around, we'll keep it on the top of our screen. You can see that it elbows around, and then we get going in the other direction. So I'm just going to pull this down again to keep this at the top of the screen, make it easier to follow. Pull it across to our left, and it elbows around again. So I'm just going to line this up with the top of my screen, follow it back across, and it elbows off here. So just keeping it on the right of my screen now. And it elbows off again, and it's towards the top of the screen, and you can see that it is just actually going to be the 3rd button on our left now. Go ahead and pull this back up to the top and solve for our last pipe. You can see that it lines up with this one here. Makes a sharp kind of left shortly out of the gate here, so I'll keep that towards the top of my screen. Pull this across. You can see that it's elbowed down already. Keep it on the left of the screen. And it goes straight down, and you can see that it elbows off again to our right, and it's looking like it's lining up with our button here, and you can see that we follow through, and it does. So this one's just going to be our 4th button on the right side. And now that we have completed this puzzle, it opens up the gear slot just at the bottom here, and if you recognize this gear, it looks very similar to this puzzle. So we can go ahead and plug this in. And now we just want to kind of make quick reference to this posting also. So it says to calibrate the gears by matching the numbers. The easiest way that I found to do this is just by looking at what we know we have. So pick a number and just see if there's any that closely resemble the left and right side of that number. So for me on this one, I picked number 1, and we see that we have a 2, a 1, and a 3. So we have a 2 and a 3 on either side of our 1. We have a 3, a 1, and a 2. So again, we have a 3 and a 2 on either side of the 1. This one here, we have a 5, a 1, and a 4. And then we have a 2, a 1, and a 6. So these two gears seem the most alike to me. What I did is just kind of line the ones up on this here. And you can see that this one's basically mirroring our top one. Now we want to just get the other gears in line. We see that our 7s line up, so we just need to get our 4 in line with our gear that we placed. And you can see as soon as I let go of this, our 4s are going to line up here, and our 3s line up here. So everything, all of the gears are now calibrated because the numbers are matching. Again, we have 1 and 1, we have 4 and 4, we have 3 and 3, we have 7 and 7. And what this does now is unlock a disc for us, and we need to put the disc just into this disc slot up at the top kind of corner projector. So we're going to be confronted with a screen like this. You want to hit the red kind of eject spot here, and it's going to open the disc slot. We'll put the disc in, and as soon as we do that, it's going to open up a screen for us. So you see here that we have a maze with a key, and this is ultimately our exit point. So this is the last puzzle of the room, the first puzzle that we've ever done that's anything like this. What this side of the screen is we are essentially becoming this person in the maze. So we have a series of directions. We need to basically kind of navigate our way through the maze using an overhead kind of screen, and then actually getting down into the maze and doing those movements. So with this, we can see that we need to make a couple of steps forward, make a couple of steps to the right, and then go left. So with this, we'll take a couple of steps forward. This doesn't, if you hit right, it just makes you look right. It doesn't make you move right. So you still need to kind of, once you set those directions up, you need to still go ahead and proceed in that direction. So we'll go left based on what we had said before. And you can see now that our guy is chilling here. We need to get him to go left and go straight. We'll basically kind of navigate these two barriers and go as far as we can until we can't go anymore, and then we're going to want to hang a left. So let's try and do that now. We said we need to look left to go down the hall. We'll actually walk down the hall. Here's our first barrier, so we'll go right, and we will just move around it here. Here's our second barrier, so we'll just move around that. And then we said we want to just go until we can't go anymore. We can see our key here, and just to show you that we are in line with our pathway here, so we have our key. So let's just go until we get the key, and then we can figure out where we need to go to get out of this place. So you see now we need to fully turn around and basically go back the way we came. As soon as we keep going, we'll go right all the way to the wall. We'll turn right again. And then basically our first left that we can, we're just going to follow up there towards our door here. So let's turn around. You can see we'll go all the way down the hall, we said, and just come back the way we came. We can navigate all this here, our barriers. And I believe we said we were going to take our first left. We are here now, so we can just take our first left, swap up and around here. And we need to basically round this next corner. So we'll get right into the doorway there. You can see here's our door. All we're going to do is pop in, pop to the right. And now that the door's open, you do have to hit one more time just to make sure that you escape. You can see here that we unlock the valve. Turn around, stick it into the door here. And now that it's on, you have to click it to use it. And we have escaped the engine room. Definitely a different room. Again, I feel like I'm saying that a lot with every different room that we play. Definitely a different room than the ones played previously, especially with these DLC rooms. I feel like you get a really good value for being paid DLC because they are very different from the last. They have different puzzles from all of the original games, which is super cool. But anyways, glad you guys were able to come hang out for a little bit. If you found this video helped you, give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games, and we'll see you in the next episode.